Welcome everyone to AJ's World of Bodybuilding, and today he stole the show on Instagram. If you've seen it, YEMI, how are you?
I'm good, man. How you doing, AJ?
Pronounce your last name correctly for people at home.
ADEFIOYE.
Where are your parents originally? Well, probably
Nigeria.
UK, but before that.
Nigeria. So my parents are both. So my mum was born in the UK, but she was raised in Nigeria, and then my dad is Nigerian, full like born and bred.
For people who don't know your background, you're coming from a real athlete's family. Your mom competes in women's physique. Is your dad also into bodybuilding, or?
I don't think so. My stepdad used to be my coach, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So before I was with Ross, I was with my stepdad.
Who competed first, your mom or you?
My mum. So she before I even went to the gym, my mum was already in the gym training, competing. I remember going to my first show to watch her. Didn't really enjoy bodybuilding. I remember being in the crowd, being like, "Oh, what's this? Like, it's a bit banned. It's a bit vain. It's a bit weird." But you know what? I'm gonna support my mum anyway. So I go to show after show, and then I think where it kind of like flicked the switch is we went to the Arnold Classic, Spain. It was the last one that was still in the IFBB.
Yeah.
And I didn't really pay attention. You know, I was there, Big Ramy.
You went to a bodybuilding show and you didn't pay attention to when Big Ramy was on stage.
Exactly. It's crazy. I missed out, man, because I didn't go at all. I just went out clubbing. And then I kind of got into the sport, and then I realized what mistake I made by not being able to, sit there and really enjoy. And I had to learn a lesson from that, and it was just to make sure that whatever opportunity is in front of me, regardless of if I enjoy it or not, just to make sure that I actually sit there and embrace it.
You did the Arnold Classic UK. For people who don't know, a couple of days shows before, people were looking at you. You have the potential. You weren't in that good shape. Were you a little bit overconfident in those earlier shows, or?
Yeah, 100%, man. So when I had the 2023 season, that was my first season competing in the NPC. Prior to that, I only did two shows in the UK BFF.
Yeah.
And when I came over to the NPC, I did my first show, won my first regional class, and I kind of was like, yeah, I'm good. The guy that won the overall, he got 5th at the Arnold Classic, and I got 3rd. So in my head, I was like, I'm better than everyone. So I kind of slacked a bit when it came to, not even slacked. I'll just say that like we thought that we had a better package than it was. Does that make sense? So we thought we were in a better shape, but we just wasn't. We just needed to come in a lot tighter. So the first show we did was the British, where I only was able to do the novice class because they changed the rules, and myself and my coach didn't see. So we did the novice, and I got a kick in the teeth, got 2nd in novice, and that was really a humbling wake-up call that I need to like put my shit together. Then we waited another 8 weeks and did the race trick rumble. After the race trick, that was another kick in the teeth because I didn't get where I wanted. I was looking backstage. I thought my conditioning was on. Everyone was telling me my conditioning was on. Everyone said, you look like you're the winner. But I think what happened was we were chasing fullness without having the ability to pull back on water and hydration. So in layman's terms, we were just not using strong enough diuretics, and my coach's knowledge was so limited when it comes to that side of the game. Pretty much just running vitamin C and caffeine pills with a meal. And that would be enough to dry me out, which it just wasn't. So we came in a lot fuller, but at a detriment to a lot of conditioning that I had pulled in. From that point on, obviously, I linked up with Ross, and then he put me on like a bikini girl diet pretty much for like, probably I would like to say 3 or 4 days, maybe 5 days of just
that's Ross Byrne, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Ross Byrne from the Pro Coach.
To make the story short, because I think you had an interview on muscle development, correct? Where you didn't you do a muscle development interview, or?
No, I've done a Pro Coach podcast.
Okay. You won the Arnold Classic in stunning Arnold Classic Amateur for the pro card, when a lot of people maybe have doubted, not that written you off because of
No, a
those
lot of people were
showings.
doubting me. A lot of people were doubting me. People told me that you ain't gonna win a pro card. You ain't even got a regional qualify. You ain't even won an overall. You ain't even done this. You ain't done that. You can't win it. You got to do this first. You got to do that first. People were telling me you can't get a pro card yet. I was already looking at the Olympia though.
You won the Arnold Classic Amateur, stepped into the pro stage, did the whole thing, looked incredible. But now it's the time what's happening now. We don't look back so much. It's now. People, they can see the pictures and the videos. They're going viral right now. People are seeing Brian Buchanan. Is that a compliment from you, for you?
Yeah, most definitely. Brian Buchanan is a massive influence on me. I mean, I remember the first time I ever saw his physique. I didn't put any like 2 and 2 together. I just thought, yo, his waist looks crazy. I would love to have that shape. Him and Lee Haney were pretty much my biggest inspirations when it came to how I want my physique to look. Well, to be frank, Lee Haney, Brian Buchanan, also Serge Nubret, and then a little bit of Terrence as well. These are my favorite guys.
Is there, do you train a specific way? You know, with Lee Haney, what does he say? Don't annihilate. What is his slogan again?
His idea is to not annihilate the muscle, but rather to stimulate it.
Is that something you do?
No, nothing close to that. I push my ass to failure every single rep, every single set. So I do believe, like, I had this conversation with Ross a few times. So I think that a lot of people get training misconstrued. When it comes to training, it's not necessarily how you train to build a physique, but rather what do you do in the gym. So the stimulus, you have to put your body under stress to make stimulus. So Lee Haney wouldn't necessarily push his body into, crazy amounts of weight, but his stimulus was incredibly high just from the amount of volume and load. So for example, if he was doing a chest press, it might be, a 20 to 10 on each side, but they're slow, controlled reps until failure. And I think people just get it kind of misunderstood and think that he would just kind of push in it until he got a pump in and left it. But I don't think that was the case. I do think that he was going to a little bit more failure, well, a closer proximity to failure than it probably sounds like from the way he explained it.
We are now a couple of days away from your pro debut. No, it's not your pro debut. From your real, in a way, pro debut, because you have time.
First pro prep. So I'm calling it my pro debut because my first pro prep to get onto the pro stage. We only had 38 hours to make magic happen to get onto that pro Arnold Classic stage, and we were just there to have fun. Now we're coming to win.
And I've heard, since the Arnold, or maybe you moved in with your coach to, so guys at home, he's moved in with his coach to live in like a bodybuilding mansion a la Kuwait. But where in the UK do you guys live, by the way?
Oh, I moved up to Manchester, so I'm not actually living with Ross. Ross lives maybe a 5-minute drive from where I'm staying at the moment. But I get my ass over there, I get like about 4K steps to get to his house. I'll do a check-in every single morning with him.
In front of him.
In front of him, yeah, in person. So all of those videos that you see on my Instagram where it's inside of a house, that is Ross's, front yard. So that's literally me going to his house and then just checking in with him in person. We'll do one round without the camera, another round on camera, and then we'll go viral.
You shocked what can I say? When we saw you on stage at Arnold UK, everyone's like, whoa, look at the shape. When I saw you backstage, I didn't know your physique yes, I've seen you the year before, I remember. But when I saw you again, when you see you live, it was a lot of improvements, but I was worried about the size, because bodybuilding, we need size.
Yeah, of course.
How much quality pounds have you put on since the Arnold Classic UK in November?
10 to 12 pounds of stage weight will be added to my frame. I'm coming a lot bigger. It might not look it in the videos, but we've definitely put on a lot more size. So if you guys remember at the Arnold Classic pro stage, you know, we came in a lot fuller, and when we stood next to the other guys, we wasn't looking small. This is going to be the exact same thing, but with more tissue.
We've seen the waist, 10 pounds of muscle with keeping the exactly same waist size. Is this correct?
Exactly the same waist. If anything, it might even be a little bit smaller because some of my boxes that fit me last year don't fit.
This is sounding like a Tinder date profile. This is sounding exciting. But is there any way you train to keep or diet? What's the little bit of the secrets to keep that, no matter what waist guys have, but to keep the same waist by adding? Is there any type of special formula?
I wouldn't say there's a special formula. What I would say is to add, you know, muscle as slowly as possible. I think one of the things that was really in my benefit to keeping my waist tight was that I kept vacuuming, I kept posing. I made sure I always practice every single morning. I'd wake up and, you know, I'll hit my vacuums, I hit my poses, make sure everything's looking straight forward and straight tight. I'd also never really eat till like massive amounts of bloat. Like, of course I would eat, you know, my last meal would be quite dense with volume, but the majority of my meals, we was able to lower the food volume by adding things like honey. So for example, we would put honey in chicken and peanut butter, and then instead of having like maybe 250 grams of, you know, rice, I was eating 100 grams of uncooked rice per meal, and my food was still up to 5,000 calories. So I think just having, you know, low volume food, high dense calorie foods that aren't going to be sitting in your gut for ages, and high digestion foods as well. And then also just not being in a surplus for, you know, incredibly long amounts of time. Like if you're going to sit there and like bulk for like a year and a half, you cannot push, you know, 5,000 calories, 6,000 calories for a year and a half and expect your waist to stay the same.
That was a little good tip for people there, to add in honey and things like this to keep the volume lower, but the calories high, correct?
Yeah.
How many calories you would say, but you still manage 10 pounds. You're only 26, 27, correct?
I'm 29.
29, but 10 pounds, that is a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. In 6 months, we put in a lot of size.
So having a coach with you that's hands-on and your mindset is all, what do you think you able to put such much pounds in such a short time?
Yeah, just being very resilient, very resistant, consistent, and having you know, an amazing coach by my side. I think that Ross had such a close eye on my check-ins every single week. It got to a point we were checking in twice a week. You know, he was very intensive, very strict. You know, he was strict even towards like the quality of pictures that I was sending him. Like, for example, if I sent him a video and it was like from the front facing camera on a tripod, he wouldn't like it. Or if it was like, you know, just like low res, I had to put it on the camera, make sure I was sending him high quality pictures so he can get a good idea of what was going on. I think another thing as well is just keeping lean-ish. I didn't get sloppy, so it allowed me to know that the majority of that weight that was getting put on was actually muscle rather than, you know, food volume and fat and water and glycogen and things of that nature. Obviously, these things are all going to be playing a part within it. But, you know, if you can keep yourself relatively lean in your off season, then, you know, if I put on 10 kilos and my conditioning only slips maybe like 20%, then I put on at least, you know, 8 kilos of muscle.
I don't like to go into so much detail of those things because I want to keep that, it's really for the athlete themselves. But were you more aggressive with the supplementation this time?
In my off season, yeah, it was a lot more aggressive because we knew that we was on a crunch time with time. So we looked at the schedule, we saw Ireland, and we saw it was a pro classic show, and it just fit, you know, like it just felt right. Going back to Ross's homeland to get an Olympia qualification, it just fit. It just felt right, you know. We just felt it. So we just thought, you know, what's the worst that can happen? And we knew that there was a lot of eyeballs on us from the Arnold Classic. We've seen the traction that we was getting. I started working with Gymshark, so we just thought, you know what, let's just send it. go really aggressive in the off season, and then see how we can get. And then, you know, worst comes to worst, we get through a prep and we know where we stand. Best case scenario, we're going to be standing on that Olympia stage.
So we are, for people at home, the classic is called Muscle Contest Ireland. There's a pro qualifier and there's a pro show. At the pro show in Ireland, you are going home to the hometown or country. Is Ireland a country or town?
Ireland's a country.
we know. It's so small that, but
It's
anyway,
so small.
yeah. So you're going home to the home country of your coach. You're
Yes,
going
sir.
in there, and the level at that show, it's exciting. But as of now, there's no Olympia guys there, correct?
Yeah, so there was meant to be an Olympian. So when we first jumped into the show, we thought that we thought that Darren was going to be doing it.
Darren Farrell, but he's doing the
Darren
open
Farrell.
now.
Yeah, he's moving to open, unfortunately. So there isn't going to be any Olympian qualified people. And it's a shame because I really wanted to go up against some of the best. But with that being said, I have stood up to, I did the Arnold Classic. I think every single person on that stage, bar myself and Niall and Craig, were the only ones that have never been to the Olympia. So everyone on that stage has been to the Olympia at some point. So I know what I stand next to Olympians. I know where I stand next to Olympian levels at a worse physique. So now I know that I'm better. It doesn't matter what the competition is. I'm going to treat them just as good as they did, as if they were Olympians, because the reality is, yes, they're not Olympians, but they are very, very good athletes.
There are some very good, even though they're not Olympians, you don't turn pro in the pro league and not being a good athlete. At the list, I'm seeing the names that kind of stand out a little bit to me. I'm looking at what's his name? The UK bodybuilding, what's it called? Bodybuilding UK guys on Instagram. He's a good source for information for UK. And Emin Kapan, he's good. Got very good condition.
Very good conditioning.
Very good. Jimmy Tompkins got some great size.
A lot of size, yeah. I believe he got to like 280 in this offseason, so he's a big boy.
John Lofthouse, we haven't seen him peak yet, but if he can peak, he can be a good one.
He's going to be dangerous. He's going to be dangerous. He's got a very good physique. He comes in very bubbly, very round, and he's got very good posing.
Is this a show you have to win?
I don't go to a show to lose.
No.
So, I'm not here to have fun. I'm there to win. But, at the end of the day, the most important thing is to get information. It's to get data and it's to realize where we really stand against pros. You can't go into a pro show expecting just to win, because that's just not reality. Unless you're a top level Olympian, you can't just be walking in shows. No show is going to be a walk-in until you're at that level. I do believe that I will be at that level, but at the same time, I know that my limitation is I've not been bodybuilding for very long. I know that the Jimmys, for example, have been doing this for 10, 20 years. I know that Ryan's been doing this for for 3-4 years off season since he got his pro card. So it's not going to be just a cake and walk. These guys have definitely been seasoned, regardless of Olympian or not. But we're still here to win. So
for guys and girls at home, there's always one or two girls watching, but mostly it's only men. But whenever, maybe it'll change now when you're on. But yeah, anyway, exactly. I can see a big change in your mindset, in your focus, and you have grown up a lot the last year. I can see there's a change. People are now looking at you. I think you realize it. You're taking this bodybuilding thing really serious, and with your shape, structure, tiny waist, if you win this show, I'm telling you, you're going straight into that star level, man. And this could be one of the, in bodybuilding, there's many stories, and this can be one of the great stories. But I really hope you bring your absolutely best to this show. I can't wait to watch the stream. It's going to be a great show. And say something to the fans around the world. What are you thinking now a couple of days out? Because this show for you, it's a big one.
All right, here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that no matter what happens on that day, I'm going to come with the best physique I've ever presented on a stage. It's going to be the best conditioning with the best fullness and the most amount of size and the best shape that I've ever brought. If you thought that my shape looks good on Instagram, I promise you now, it's going to look way better when I'm standing next to people. I don't have a physique that looks amazing on its own, regardless of how you feel when you see it on Instagram. My physique really comes to life when I'm standing next to somebody. That's when you can really see the muscle bellies. That's when you can really see how wide I am, how small my waist is. And everyone goes on about how small my waist is. The reality is it's not necessarily that small. There's a whole bunch of dudes with 28-inch waists in the IFBB. The reason why my waist looks so small is because my shoulders are so wide. They're so wide. And that's where my strength's going to show. You know, in that front shot, in that back shot, you're going to see a lot of width and you're going to see a lot of good shape, you know.
For people in Ireland, please support bodybuilding. Don't just sit at home. Go get the tickets. To watch bodybuilding and the guys you see on Instagram is Instagram. Please go to the show because it can motivate you like never be. You cannot compare to watching on social media. Correct?
I agree. The muscle doesn't look the same. The pictures don't ever do it justice. The videos never do it justice. When you see the muscle in real life, you see the conditioning in real life, it's a game changer. And it makes you appreciate bodybuilding to another extent. You would never understand until you've seen it in real life.
And now it's time to get a little sneak peek. Can we see a little sneak peek of something?
I got you.
Something. Okay, guys. You're gonna remember, you gotta go to the show to see the full package. But this is, we gotta see it. Wow. Let's see it. Oh yeah. Look at those legs.
Like I said, I've never been this lean in my life, and I'm gonna be a little bit leaner on stage.
And with that, we are out.